Hey guys, I'm Landon. Today we're going to be reacting to Food Theory's Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Theory. This is just a video with Matt Pat in it, and he's doing a theory on if pizzas at Chuck E. Cheese are being recycled from other scraps of pizza and combined to make a new, so-called unquote, new pizza. So yeah, let's watch. This is FNAF. Yep, I was right.
Nope, not scary.
Probably a game theory reference. Hey, the balloon boy.
It's just sad. Okay, everyone, listen up. I've been doing a lot of FNAF episodes over on Game Theory, alright? A lot. Some might even
I've
say
seen
too
Game Theory,
many.
so I don't
if you
know.
want to make me scream, it's gonna take more than jump scares and a creepy pizza joint. Come at me with something new, something fresh, something different.
Well, if you want something fresh,
Nightmare Mangle, you have the floor.
that pizza you're eating was recycled from used pizzas.
Yeah, we took random pieces that other patrons left behind, stuck them together to make a quote-unquote new pizza for
Nani?
you.
Or Matt Pat. Oh, here comes the intro. It's good music. Right.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, where a theorist can be a theorist. If
Good
your
one.
upbringing was anything like mine, the go-to place for birthday parties when you were a kid was Chuck E. Cheese, or Showbiz Pizza if you harken back to the olden days like I do. Special
Showbiz.
honorable mention to Discovery Zone. You were great, but definitely a lot more birthday parties at Chuck E. Cheese, gotta admit. I mean, what is not to love here? Chuck E. Cheese has it all. Games, ball pits, slightly creepy animatronic bands,
Slightly.
employees walking around in character suits, and of course, pizza. And that, my friends, is where today's theory begins. Because
Oh, yeah.
there's a bizarre rumor that's been floating around the internet about the pizza
What is it?
served at Chuck E. Cheese. And it's been out there for over a decade. Blows my mind that this hasn't been proven or disproven yet. The theory is that if somebody at Chuck E. Cheese doesn't finish their whole pizza, the employees take it to the back, take those pieces off the tray, and then use them to form a new pizza to serve to customers.
What?
All of it is a means to save
Oh my
money.
God.
Now, why the heck would people think
I know,
anything
right?
nearly this crazy?
I haven't
That
seen
is a
this until
bold
now.
claim to be making because it is definitely illegal for a restaurant to secretly reserve leftovers
They
to
should
a
be
different
sued
customer.
then.
But if you look around online, the quote-unquote evidence is there. Picture after picture after picture online documenting the strangely shaped Chuck E. Cheese pizza phenomenon. Slices that are different lengths, crust edges that don't line up, pepperonis that just don't match. But it was a little over a year ago when this conspiracy theory blew up big time here on YouTube. When a YouTuber who shall not be named went to Chuck E. Cheese to quote-unquote investigate the issue by ordering 2 pizzas and to find that he did indeed receive some janky looking results. 40 million views later, the damage was done. Chuck E. Cheese
Oh,
is
he's
now
got a
filing for bankruptcy and becoming the literal embodiment of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Nani?
I think there are a lot of reasons for their financial difficulties. Declining interest in arcade-style restaurants in an era of accessible free video games, world pandemics keeping people out of stores, the fact that
Oh,
the
yeah.
robots legitimately
Coronavirus.
look like they want to eat our souls, thereby spawning generations of children with animatronic nightmares. But, you know, rumors of
FNAF.
broken health codes and recycled pizza definitely
Hey,
ain't helping
Ratatouille.
their bottom line. So what is going on here? Looking around the internet, there seems to be plenty of evidence that Chuck E. Cheese serves pizza that looks stitched together. But from where I'm sitting, what seems to be lacking is
So
real
real.
evidence of slice recycling. I've yet to see any footage, for instance, of a Chuck E. Cheese employee carrying a pizza back into the kitchen. And let's be honest, in this age where anyone can doctor a photo for upvotes on Reddit, where judgment happens after reading a headline rather than reading the whole article, where all the evidence that you need to prove something is an N of 1, something smells wrong here. And I'm not just talking about the dead bodies stuffed inside of the suits. There are plenty of unanswered questions in this Chuck E. Cheese conspiracy, and we here
Going
in Food
deeper.
Theory aim to
Going
answer those
deeper.
questions today. I want to know what the corporate response from Chuck E. Cheese was, for one thing. Perhaps they have a perfectly sane explanation for it.
CEC,
I'm also curious to
entertainment.
know whether Chuck E. Cheese's
That's their
pizzas
ownership
still look like this in
from it.
2020, over a year after they got put on blast by the internet. Have they changed their ways now that the eyes of the world are off of them? Or are they confident that they have nothing to hide. Also, do pizzas at every Chuck E. Cheese restaurant turn out this way? Like, how common is this? And above all else, I want to know why. Why are the pizzas turning out to look all mismatched? Whether it's shady or not, there has to be a reason for it, and I intend to determine what that reason
Hey,
is.
Sherlock
once and
Gnomes
for all,
reference.
because
Go
rumors
on.
like this can do real damage, and if these rumors are indeed unfounded, then the internet needs to know, because that would mean Chuck E. Cheese is really getting the short end of the awkwardly sized pizza slice. In the aftermath of that massive Chuck E. Cheese video, CEC Entertainment, Chuck E.'s parent company, had
Yeah,
this
yeah,
to say,
parent company.
quote, "No conspiracies here. Our pizzas are
Okay.
made to order and we prepare our dough fresh in restaurant," which means that they're not always perfectly uniform in shape, but always delicious, end quote. Okay, but
Fresh in
no one was
restaurant,
really
eh?
doubting that
That's
the
not
dough
good.
was prepared in restaurant. Like, the PR team, they saw people sharing these photos online, and they watched the video exposés, and that was the accusation that they felt like they needed to defend themselves against. I mean, fresh dough is fine. I've had fresh dough from plenty of pizza places. I've made fresh dough myself. But those pizzas, including my own janky pizzas, never look as haphazard
You
as
think?
these. Even in my worst looking pizzas made at home, I have never had a fresh dough look that just randomly juts out like this at awkward, sharp
Ew.
angles. It just doesn't happen that way. The stuff about the shape not being uniform misses the point entirely. This isn't about the fact that Chuck E. Cheese pizzas aren't perfectly round. It's that the pizzas don't look cohesive like every other pizza in
Well,
existence
just not perfectly good
does.
triangles.
The pieces straight up look like they originated from different pies. You can't expect me to believe the reason that this pizza's perimeter looks the way it does is because Chuck E. Cheese makes their dough, quote, fresh in restaurant. That's entirely irrelevant to what we're talking
Irrelevant.
about here. All you guys had to do was say, "We do not recycle other consumers' pizza," and you didn't do that. Suffice it to say, CEC's statement has a glossy PR feel to it that doesn't quite put my concerns at rest. By the way, the recycled slices fiasco isn't the only scandal plaguing Chuck E. Cheese at the moment either. In May, reports emerged that Chuck E. Cheese was selling its pizzas under a pseudonym on delivery
Wait,
apps. By rebranding themselves as Pascali's Pizza and Wings on Grubhub and other apps, CEC essentially found a way to trick adults into buying Chuck E. Cheese pizza. After
What?
they got caught, and got caught, of course they did, a company spokesperson admitted to the pseudonym, but insisted that the pizzas from Pascali's, which happens to be the name of another member of Munch's make-believe band, the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic band, were slightly different, having a thicker crust and more sauce. The spokesperson conceded, however, that Pascali's pizzas are made in the same kitchen as Chuck E. Cheese's pizza with the exact same ingredients. Oh, what a
What?
bad look. So, Chuck E. Cheese has weathered more scandals in the past couple of years than any
boy.
wholesome pizza place for kids should. But are the scandals of their own making? Does Chuck E. Cheese deserve to get dragged like this? I just can't bring myself to believe that any multinational restaurant chain could do something so dangerous, so brazenly illegal as intentionally recycling leftover pizza slices. Like, I don't care how much of a cheapskate you are, that is just a new level of low.
Here's the
Perhaps there's a
diamond.
benign explanation for why their pizzas look all Frankenstein together. Like,
Frankenstein.
maybe they stitched together slices from fresh pizzas rather than used pizzas. Sure,
Yeah,
it'd be a weird company policy, but it's no weirder than recycling slices and sending them through the oven twice. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that the recycled slices theory is a bold accusation with
Hey, a
potential
Food Theory
legal
logo with
ramifications.
pizza.
If recycling slices is company-wide policy, I have to believe employees would be sounding the alarm about it loud and clear. So what I want is evidence of wrongdoing. I want to see those leftover slices actually get carried back into the kitchen, because
Yeah,
photos of
us too.
strange-looking pizzas just aren't enough. Sure, it looks as though their crust edges don't line up, but what gives me pause is that the interior points of each slice are scattered about. That is to say, the crust edges might line up if the pieces were arranged with the points touching at the middle. Same goes for the pepperoni halves that don't line up. For one thing, I feel like some of those could have just been pushed down by the blade into the crevices between slices. For another, I've cut enough pizzas to know that sometimes one of those pepperoni halves will just stick to the blade. So we here at Food Theory did what we always do when we need more info. We ran an experiment ourselves. Now, all the Chuck E. Cheese dining rooms near us were closed due to COVID, so we could only go inside for takeout orders. Let's go get some pizza, shall we? If I don't come out, just assume I was stuffed inside of an animatronic.
Go on.
And can I just say, being
FNAF.
inside a vacant Chuck E. Cheese restaurant had a real FNAF vibe to it. Of course, doesn't say anything about their pizza, but hey, you can't just let Five Nights at Freddy's stuff slide without mentioning it. Innocent construction project? Or building a sister location underneath Chuck E. Cheese? mysterious
no.
construction out front, you know it's an underground bunker. Now, in an effort to
Oh.
get reliable results, we expanded upon internet experiments by looking at a larger number of pizzas from numerous restaurants across multiple days.
Oh.
Steph and I tackled the East
Steph.
Coast, while food theory field researcher and Tootsie Pop champion Amy covered the West Coast. Amy, I might add, wasn't quite as creeped out by the empty restaurants as I was.
It's turkey, it's turkey, it's turkey, Chuck E. Cheese.
Two of us, we
Memories.
ordered 10 pizzas from 5 different Chuck E. Cheese locations. We also
Five?
made
That's
sure
a
to get
lot.
the pizzas in a variety of different ways. Some we picked up as takeout, some we ordered on various delivery apps. We even ordered a couple pizzas from Pascali's Pizza and Wings just to see what the heck is up with that one. I was especially curious to see how many of the pizzas, if any, would look stitched together. Obviously, the
Oh,
eyes
yeah.
of the world have been on Chuck E. Cheese for the
Whoa!
past couple of years, so I was curious to see whether the restaurant
Eyes.
capitulated and changed their pizza making process as a
Mm.
result. And as soon as we opened the boxes, we had our answer. Chuck E. Cheese has made 0 changes. Their pizzas look the way that they've always looked, which is janktacular.
It
Janktacular.
looks like this piece doesn't belong. It looks like this piece doesn't belong. But it's actually like hard to jigger it into a shape that looks like it should be the pizza shape.
In all, I'd say 3 of the 10 pizzas had that Frankenstein
3 of the
quality
10?
to it. It's clearly not your prettiest pizza. And the delivery method had nothing to do with it. The reason we ordered some of them as takeout was just so we could eliminate any jostling from the delivery process as a variable. Steph and I opened a pizza box right there outside of the restaurant in the parking lot, and it had crust and pepperonis that didn't line up. So I am confident that whatever is happening in these pizzas, it's happening in the kitchen. That means
Oh,
if we're going
boy.
to crack this mystery, we need to get eyes in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. So
Hey,
Team
Hamilton!
Pierce reached out to 2 real-life Chuck E. Cheese employees for
Current
interviews.
and
One of the
former.
interviewees, who requested to go by their Reddit username The Who, was a CEC employee at 2 different Chuck E. Cheese locations in 2 different cities,
Whoa.
and worked there years before the viral video that set this conspiracy theory on fire. The other, who also asked to go by their Reddit username Classy_Corpse, is a current employee who began working after that viral video was released. Both have experience bussing tables at Chuck E. Cheese, meaning if the recycled slices theory is
Policy,
or
get
was
one.
ever CEC policy, they would have been specifically responsible for taking the slices back into the kitchen. Furthermore, both employees have some first-hand knowledge of the kitchen and the pizza-making process.
boy.
The 2 written interviews were conducted independently of one another, yet we received similar answers from both of our interviewees, who both completely rejected the notion that Chuck E. Cheese might recycle their slices. According to the current CEC employee, quote, "The recycled pizza is definitely a myth. Believe me, even the staff would never think of doing such a thing." And the former employee agreed, writing, quote, "No, having worked at 2 different locations, I have never seen, ever, anyone even think this was a good idea. It just isn't worth it to CEC to do this." They were equally unified in their responses when we asked about the possibility of leftover food being taken back to the kitchen. Both employees agreed that it's something that just doesn't happen. CEC entertainment policy is that leftover food be thrown out in the thank you boxes, aka their name for the trash bins in the dining room and game floor areas. And the current CEC employee explained that this policy is followed by employees. Quote from them, "When I bust the tables, we dump any excess food in the trash bins out on the game room floor. We don't bring any food back to the kitchen unless someone demands to reheat their pizza, to which we have to oblige." And our own field experiments support these claims. Remember, we ordered all of our pizzas during lockdown. I even bought myself a Chuck E. Cheese face mask as a keepsake. There are obviously some downsides to doing an experiment during a pandemic, but in this case, it actually helped us. Because the dining rooms are closed at every restaurant that we ordered a pizza from, we know for a fact that none of our 10 pizzas came from other customers' leftovers. Because there are no customers in the restaurant to leave leftovers. COVID actually allowed us to control an entire variable that otherwise we couldn't have controlled. And as a result, when we opened our pizza boxes and saw Frankenstein-y looking pizzas, it really told us something.
Oh my
It
God,
told
they
us
have
that there
bubbles.
is no way that leftovers are part of this mystery. When leftovers are removed from the equation, Chuck E. Cheese's pizzas just still come out looking like this. So
Yeah,
there must be
Frankenstein.
another explanation. I'm sorry for ever doubting you, Chuck.
It's okay, Matt Pat. I forgive you.
However, before I list the recycled slices theory as 100% theorist certified false, there is a huge question left to answer. Why do the pizzas come out looking so mismatched?
I know.
Like, there are a gazillion
Hey,
other
Little
pizza
Caesars
companies
pizza,
out there.
pizza.
Why is it that Chuck E. Cheese is like the only one in existence to have these freaky looking ones? The current CEC employee we interviewed had a surprisingly simple answer for this. An answer that I kind of feel like CEC Entertainment should have just come out and said for themselves when this this whole conspiracy theory hit the fan a couple years ago. According to the employee, quote, the uneven topping look comes from the blade we use. The rocking blade has next to no edge on it for safety reasons. Therefore, it's an absolute pain when it comes to cutting pizzas with it, which is what gives it the Frankenstein look, if you will. If you want to find the other half of your pepperoni slice, it's slipped to the inside of the cut. And the former employee added that the process of transferring the pizzas from the cooking rack onto the cutting board and finally onto the serving tray is also contributing to the jostled appearance that some of the pizzas have. Our field experiments support these claims as well. Food theory field researcher Amy specifically noticed that the Chuck E. Cheese slices were surprisingly lightweight. They didn't have a lot of sauce or cheese holding the pieces together.
So I will say this. These pieces of pizza don't seem very weighty. They don't have a lot of crust to them. They don't have a lot of toppings, even if you ask for extra. And so I feel like when they're getting cut up, if it's done really roughly, it's really easy to just throw these pieces of pizza around.
So it all comes down to the pizza rocker that they use to cut the pieces.
Pizza
the blades
rocker.
are dull, and as a result, they wreck the pizzas more than a sharpened blade otherwise would. Ironically, it's a safety policy that Chuck E. Cheese has in place that's led to a conspiracy theory accusing them of serving unsafe pizza. Now, remember how we also got those pizzas from Pascali's Pizza and Wings? The pizzas that CEC Entertainment claims are thicker, have more sauce? Well, since they're being prepared in the exact same kitchen as Chuck E. Cheese pizzas, that means Pascali's pizza should hold up better against the dull pizza rockers being used in those kitchens. After all, it's more substantial and has more sauce holding the pieces in place, right? And that's actually exactly what we found. Neither of the pizzas delivered from Pascali's really showed any Frankenstein-y attributes, whereas 3 of the 8 of the Chuck E. Cheese pizzas did. So there you have it, friends. The Chuck E. Cheese recycled slices conspiracy theory is hereby declared 100% theorist certified false. Do the pizzas come out looking wacky sometimes? Absolutely. But there's nothing illegal or unsafe behind it. If anything, the restaurant's guilty of being overly safe. Just don't tell that one to the animatronics. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory.
Yeah, that was awesome. Right. That was a pretty cool video, you guys. Pretty cool. I would say it's food certified. So yeah, that's a reaction video, you guys. If you want to subscribe to Food Theory, MatPat's third theory channel itself, the channel is in the description below. And if you want to subscribe to me, Landon Bale, pretty much just hit the subscribe button, the bell icon, put all notifications to get channel video notifications from me. And please like this video too and comment below what you thought of this reaction video. Bye guys, and remember, that was a food theory.